So what do you think?
About what?
All of it. The student, the professor.
I think
Can't take it back once it's been set in motion.
She mentioned a favorite teacher of hers, a mentor. This person was less than supportive when she came forward.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel and time for another episode of Luke's Reviews. On today's video, festival season is gradually coming to a close, and that means that some of the films that debuted there are gradually starting to make their way to cinemas. Now, it is the turn of the newest film from Luca Guadagnino that stars Julia Roberts, Andrew Garfield, and Edebiri in After the Hunt. Julia Roberts plays Alma, a philosophy professor at Yale University, but she finds herself in a difficult situation when one of her prized students comes to her with a shocking accusation against Andrew Garfield's professor. And as this bombshell causes chaos across the university, Alma must recognize where her loyalties lie and whose truth to believe. I've enjoyed the recent works of Luca Guadagnino. I especially enjoyed last year's Challenges. It was one of my favorite movies of that year. And all the buzz surrounding After the Hunt had me excited for what he was cooking up. I thought it had a really intriguing sounding premise that was rife with drama and suspense. You've got an all-star cast to boot. And for the first hour of After the Hunt, I was locked in. The first act of After the Hunt walks a very fine tightrope above this chasm of grey morality. You've got philosophy professors and some students whose principles and ethics are put to the test. Edebiri's character, she's a student at Yale University, and she accuses Andrew Garfield's professor of sexually assaulting her. Now, for Alma, Julia Roberts' character, Edebiri is her prized star pupil, but Andrew Garfield's professor is a close personal friend. So for her, she inevitably finds herself caught on whose side, if any, to be on. And thus begins a very high wire balancing act of looking at such cases as this and attempting to achieve a two-sided argument. From one perspective, you have a vulnerable student taken advantage of by her superior who refuses to take accountability for his own actions. And yet, from the other perspective, there's a narrative of a spoiled rich girl who is close to flunking her class, and when called out by a professor, spins the yarn to deviate away from the claim. There is intrigue to be found as we enter this labyrinth of truth and deception, and fluctuating power dynamics is always something that Guadagnino excels in. And so, yes, for that first hour, I was really involved in the film. And as the audience, you yourself are put into this moral quandary of who is telling the truth here? It also helps that After the Hunt is brimming with extremely strong performances from its entire ensemble. Julia Roberts leads the way as Alma, and I couldn't help but draw initial comparisons to Cate Blanchett in Tar. She does a good job in portraying how this situation is eating away at her, and is perhaps the best that we have seen of Roberts in quite a while. Andrew Garfield is terrific as always. What I really loved about his character is that it's executed in the sense that you can never get a read on him. And the same goes for Edebiri too. It's almost as if in each scene of theirs, they try and play the characters differently. One scene, they'll portray them as guilty, and in the other, it will be innocence. But for me, it was Michael Stuhlbarg who stole the film. He has such a presence about him. Now, his character can be a right dick at points, but he can also spout the most heartfelt ruminations on life and truth. Ultimately, though, the level of intrigue that I had for the first hour of After the Hunt, it cannot be sustained for the egregiously long 2.5-hour runtime. Despite the characters being well written, it is their level of intellect and almost superior nature to a general movie-going audience that is borderline unrelatable. When their equivalent of just a general chit-chat amongst friends is spouting deep philosophical mediations on the work of Kierkegaard, at that point, I can't help but feel that you are treating these characters at a level above us, the audience. Therefore, when the movie attempts to really bring that emotion home, it hasn't been able to get a solid grasp because you just aren't invested in these characters as much as you would be if they were maybe just felt a little bit more grounded at an R level. And I think that is where you can kind of find my overall issue with After the Hunt, in that it lacks conviction. It is all well and good to tiptoe along this tightrope above this grey morality, is the analogy that I keep using, but eventually a tightrope walker has to come to their end point. Except for After the Hunt, that point never arrives. The screenplay by Nora Garrett almost seems steadfast to never fall on one side of this debate. And I'm not saying that it particularly had to and outright lay its cards on the table, but I think the film should have at least had the gumption to make a stand and a statement of some sorts, rather than just kind of stay in the middle for the entire time. It is sadly due to that almost ambivalence to standing its ground why I can't say that I fully recommend After the Hunt. There are great performances to be found, and I will still be closely sitting by for whatever Luca Guadagnino project comes next. But for me, this one was a miss. And that's a real shame because it had the potential to be a strong contender. So I'm going to give After the Hunt a 5.5 out of 10. Anyway, guys, those were my thoughts on After the Hunt. Let me know, have you had a chance to see the film yet? What did you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And my question to you, if you have been keeping track of the films that have debuted over this festival season, what film that is still yet to be released are you most looking forward to? But that is all the time we have for today. So thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.
Hello, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure to click that like button, and if you aren't already, click that subscribe button too.